January 5th, 2026. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It's been a while since I was back in the seat taking any trades. Kind of took a couple of weeks off for the winter break and run into the end of the year. But I did look at the charts pretty much as I could. And I noticed, the price action really did slow down. There may have been just 1 or 2 days that were semi-decent, but most of the time it was good. It wasn't really worth trading. I took a total of 2 trades today. One was a loser, which is right here, and one was a winner. Unfortunately, the loser, in hindsight, it should have been better planned and it should have probably skipped it. I'll get to it when I get there. I didn't really find too many other setups. I did mark 2 additional setups, but there are a few uh, almost trades that I decided on, or decided to call them almost trades. So the only economic data that came out today was at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, which is about right here, which is the ISM Manufacturing PMI. Didn't really move the market. Go into the trades right now. In the pre-market, it had this really slow grind up, almost like it was consolidation, then spike up right before the market opened. It looked like it was up this green channel, break, test the high. It starts moving, hits the localized high, or at the moment high a day, and it became a first entry long pullback, second entry long. I call this a second entry long. It's an almost trade because I didn't really like the signal bar. It looks like it was bouncing off a potential support area, but I didn't have this orange down channel established yet, so I didn't really have to worry about any kind of resistance up here. But I did think that perhaps there's going to be some kind of, I just didn't really like the signal bar, to be honest. If it was closed more bullish, just kind of at the high, then I probably would have jumped on the trade, but it would have been, in this case, a losing trade. And then prices moved down. It looks like it's moving down this larger orange down channel. It's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback. Creates a second entry short and a potential triple test. Now, this orange down channel looks like it was several legs down or just maybe one big leg. The thing that made it an almost trade, not quite, it was a very tempting trade though, made it almost though, because I thought it was a first entry short, second entry short, triple test, decent signal bar. EMA is not that important at the moment because it is moving sideways, but I did consider, since it's the start of the day, this is only at the first 8 minutes. I mean, it's already pretty good that you can probably take this trade, but I called it an almost trade just because I was concerned that I'm not sure how valid this orange down channel is in the break to test the low. So it would have worked for a quick one, maybe 2 point scalp, but I just didn't feel confident in it. Prices then continue moving sideways. Looks like it was in a range. Moves up on this green up channel, creates a first entry long pullback, second entry long failure. I call this an almost trade as well because here the EMA is starting to show a little bit of movement, but it is for the most part still sideways. Break of the green up channel has tested once and then pulled back, tested a second time. So it's making 2 attempts up, but when it pulled back more than 50% of this move, then it's less likely it's going to test the high. And most likely it's going to reverse or at least chop sideways. But I called it an almost trade just because I wasn't sure if I'm really entering into this uh, trading range or if it was actually going to bounce and move back up. So it's pretty close though. Actually, I'm going to reconsider and call it an actual trade. But at the time, I considered it an almost trade. But in hindsight, which is always nice to have the benefit of, I think it's a actual possible trade right here. And my goal is to get better at reading the charts such that when I see a setup, I will have determined if it's an actual setup that's possible or an almost trade. And then when I go back after the day is done and I see more of the price action pan out, my initial read would have been correct, even with hindsight. And as I get closer to that, then I can trust my chart read, at least in real time. But I'm not quite there yet. So the prices moved down. It looks like it's bouncing. So this is what I was playing with at the time. There's this trading range, and then there's a secondary one here. I don't really trust the high side, but I do trust the low side because it looks like it's one touch, two touch, potentially a third touch, but I'm watching and waiting. It pushes up and it's getting close to the 7 o'clock ISM Manufacturing PMI. So I'm not taking any trades. I'm just watching. So this is kind of a no trade zone. And then 7 o'clock kind of gets a little choppy, but nothing here. I could probably actually box this just to know that this is kind of a no trade zone, right about right here to probably about here. So although I marked it out, there's really no safe trades in my opinion right now because it's about 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes before and 5-10 minutes after. Creates a localized high a day. First entry long pullback. I'm gonna actually move this slightly. Pullback, second entry long. Second entry long bounces off this support. I actually thought this might have been a possible trade because it looks like it's bouncing off this localized support area. This orange up channel was more of a trend line initially because it was one touch, two touch, and this would have been the third touch. I thought it was a decent possible trade because it's a decent signal bar with enough room to scalp out before you hit the highs. Now, if this big blue trading range was in play, you could argue that it might try to make it back to the other side, but I didn't really trust this big blue trading range just yet because it really only had one touch, two touch confirmation. So it could move back down or it could move back up, or it could be starting its own little trading range right here. So I thought this was a possible trade for 1 point scalp. Prices continue moving up, breaks out of what I thought might have been this blue trading range, moves up this orange up channel. I marked another almost trade right here. It's a localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. In real time, I was looking at it, but the only way to safely enter this is after the break of this signal bar, because there's actually first entry long pullback, second entry long signal bar, and actually the trigger bar are this one and the same. So you'd have to enter on this after it breaks above here. But you have to be confident that this is actually going to give you your scalp because it's hitting this dotted blue line, which is the high of day. And in this case, pretty much the all-time high. So asking for a progressive push up off of this previous candle is it felt a little risky. So called an almost trade, pushes up. It fits nicely in this orange up channel at the moment. So I'm thinking, okay, prices are moving up here, but it's kind of pushing into no man's land because it's never been this high before. Pushes down. It looks like if it only had created a first entry long, that would have been perfect, but technically you don't have a first entry long till you get about right here. But it did look like two legs down. So I was looking for a higher low, ideally above this EMA, then I would have considered maybe there's a possible trade depending on how this is panning out. Pushing, and you don't really get a higher low, and this actually makes a matching bottom. So all all hopes of taking a trade, I just kind of abandoned at this point. Or taking a trade set up in here, I just kind of left it. The prices continue moving. It's getting a little choppy. I'm thinking we're in a trading range right here. It looks like it's bouncing off this larger up channel trendline support right here. And this is actually the first break. And it creates a failed second entry short potential triple test. So it's a localized low. So it's actually a new low. First entry short count resets when you make a double bottom. So I just said this is the localized low. First entry short pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short. Second entry short has failed here, and you have a potential triple test. The thing I didn't really like about this trade is, yes, it's moving back into this gray up channel, but I'm not sure that I might actually hit some kind of resistance in this potential trading range. So I had to leave it alone. There's a failed breakout here. Prices move down. Bounces here. I'm watching this line carefully. It's holding pretty well support, so now I'm pretty confident we're in a trading range. It creates a second entry long here. So it's a localized high, first entry long pullback, second entry long right here. The thing is, I wanted this signal bar to actually break below this guy, at least by one tick. So it'd be first entry long pullback, pushes down and pushes back up. Then I thought it would have been more valid second entry long. The other problem I didn't really like with this trade is after the close of this bar, my entry would be, now that I know what it looks like, it would be pretty much at the high of this bar, and it leaves you just enough to scalp out with 1 point, but it does leave me a little concerned. If this top of the range was higher, it just happened to be up here, then I feel there's enough room to confidently scalp out for 1 point, but it didn't give that, so I had to call it almost trade, which is out. Now it's another failed breakout, a little bit more decisive here. Creates a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short creates what looks like a lower high, but never broke below this guy. And then this guy finally does, but by the time this candle here, this hammer candle closes, the trade's already been made, which is back up. It would have failed, I think, on me anyways, depending on if I'm going for 1 or 2 points, because my stop would have been likely up here and it would have been stopped out. And in context, this would be counter trend to the overall bias of the day, because the overall bias of the day is bullish. Bullish with consolidation. Starts moving up. It creates this new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. I drew this. So I was playing with several trend lines and channels initially, and this one fit pretty well even before this part showed up. So it looks like it's fitting pretty well because at least two touches, two touches. I'm looking for a third touch. You get your third touch here. First entry long pullback, second entry long confirmed here. So I was thinking if I wanted to take a trade, I probably, after this candle closes, I'd enter at the high of this one, this initial signal bar. It's debatable whether it would have come back and picked me up and then flushed up for the quick 1 point scalp. And prices keep moving up, breaks to the high side, and this actually sets up for my one of two trades, the first trade being a loser. I'm in my mind thinking this yellow up channel is pretty good. I like how it's operating. It looks like it's moving down this orange down channel. Orange down channel has break and tested the low. If it bounces off this yellow up channel, I'm thinking there's a possible trade here. So it looks like it's first entry long pullback. This is where I take my trade. So I'm confident that this yellow up channel, the support is holding. There is an overshoot here. Now, this is what got me in trouble. I saw it's a first entry long pullback right here, pushes down, pushes back up, creates my second entry long. I took it on the engulfing right when this candle was near closing. So it's a 2000 tick chart. The ticks were running out. I entered really close to the end, got filled, and I thought, cool. I just needed to move up from here 4 ticks, and it already moved 2 ticks. So I thought I was in the clear. I thought this orange down channel was played out, tested the bottom, it's moving back up, neglecting this potential overshoot. It kind of double tops. I'm watching, I'm hoping it comes back. And then when it closes down here, I'm thinking, well, this yellow up channel still is a decent support. It could still bounce. It creates this inside bar. So now I'm getting a little nervous. It's stalling a little bit. Then it flushes down. My stop's actually below this guy, gave it plenty of room. Pushes down. At this point, I'm thinking the trade is lost. Again, stalls out, comes back up, creates a new low, first entry short pullback, second entry short. Second entry short has failed. But now I've established that there might be some kind of trend line coming down here. So now I'm wondering if this yellow up channel is stronger than the bias on this green down channel. So again, it stalls. Then it finally flushes and takes me out right here, which is 1 tick below here. So in hindsight, now that I had the benefit of hindsight and had to sit through this anguish, I noticed this overshoot here. This yellow up channel looks like it touches nicely here, touches nicely here. So you do have an overshoot here. So back here, even though this pushed up, I should have considered the fact that there could be another leg down. So it's one leg down, looks like one leg up, pullback, maybe a second leg. So there could be another corresponding leg to this orange one coming down, back down, to also make a symmetric overshoot on this side. I didn't really quite consider that all the way through because I was pretty excited seeing that this yellow up channel was supporting and holding. And as it was stalling, I was thinking there's a chance it might come back, but it never does, and it finally takes me out. So now it's moving down this green down channel. Things are just congested, creates a new low. It's a first entry short, and this actually sets up for my second trade, which is a winner. So first trade is a loser, second trade, it's moving down this green down channel. I did, but I've since eliminated this measured move. So the measured move has completed. Push down, back up, push down. It's exceeded it. So I'm thinking this measured move really isn't that important right now, but it looks like it might be moving down this green down channel. I had a little tighter here. Have good confirmations. So it looks like it's 2 legs up from the bottom. I'm thinking this is a decent signal bar. On top of that, this signal bar closed at the low. It's only 4 ticks. It looks like it's 2 legs up. It looks like prices want to test the low of this green down channel. So I enter right here, going for just a really humble 1 point scalp, and I got it. If I were going for 2, I may have gotten out on this candle, but if I didn't get out, then this candle here would have stopped me out. So after I saw that, I decided, okay, lost one, won one, red for the day, but not as red as it was before. I'm just gonna, ease up. probably just take it easy because this is the first day of actual full trading for me since I took a long hiatus. That I was thinking, well, I'm probably a little eager, and knowing that I want to erase the loss from this trade, even though this one kind of did a little bit of it, I would probably start inventing trades. So kind of took a step back and decided just to watch the charts and not take any more trades. Pushes up, creates a localized high. It's a first entry long, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long here, maybe a triple test, but it's a little ambiguous here because you could say there's a triple test here, but this is an inside bar, and it's not even the most decisive inside bar because it closed, it pulled back, so I didn't really like that. Pushes down, it looks like it's two legs down, creates a higher low here, so it's actually localized high. Even though it's highs here, I just said this is resetting the count. First entry long pullback, second entry long, looks like two legs down, pullback. There is a higher low here. I was concerned that the EMA might act as resistance now because clearly it's showing a little bit of a bearish bias, whereas previously in other areas it was just more neutral. So I called it an almost trade. In this case, this almost trade would have worked, which is up. It's a localized low. First entry short, second entry short, no real setup here. Moves up what it looks like this pink up channel, creates a localized high. First entry long pullback, second entry long is not a good signal bar. Maybe it's a bounce off the EMA, but it's a little ambiguous. I did have this line drawn initially, thinking there's some kind of support here, but it's too early to trust this as a support because these candles test as a support very close in sequence. One touch, then it floats above, moves three candles. One touch, floats above, moves three candles. So I didn't really trust this as a support just yet. Plus, the EMA isn't acting decisively enough with trend to let it be used as a key entry point because it's an almost touch, but it didn't quite get there. So I left it alone. Prices moved down as orange down channel. Looks like it's consolidating, but then it continues down here. Moves down this orange down channel, has a decisive break downwards. It's a first entry short, pullback, creates a second entry short, second entry short. Now I marked it as an arrow because I was thinking, could there be a new high, first entry long, second entry long coupled with a failed second entry short? The problem is I didn't really like the signal bar, and I was thinking if we're in this orange down channel, I could have some kind of resistance here. Although there was a break here, you're expecting another leg up. It just wasn't super clear to me what was going to happen. In this case, if you didn't enter, I'd be in the trade right now. Depending on if I'm going for 1 or 2 points, I may have gotten at my scalp right here, but definitely right here. But something I didn't believe in enough or have a conviction enough in real time, so left it alone. Looks like it makes a measured move, one leg up, pull back, second leg up, starts reversing. It looks like this channel could be in play. So I was thinking, is this a possible channel? It's really wide though, so I'm not the biggest fan. So it does have a localized high, first entry long, pullback. Unfortunately, this doesn't create a nice signal bar for second entry long, so I just marked it as a triangle. Then it pushes, gets a little bit congested, and you have these dojis, pushes down, and then pushes into the close. So first day back, well, not really back. I was watching, but I didn't really take any trades during the break. But first actual trading day of the year, and it took one loss and then got one win. But wasn't it wasn't really the easiest or most obvious in my opinion. There were, as you can see, a bunch of almost trades that I wasn't sure in real time to trust if they were actual setups or not. So hopefully things kind of smooth out throughout the rest of the week and then going forward that I can recover some of the red that I took today. So hopefully that was helpful.